If you plan on buying a roof in 2025, then this video is gonna help you out. So nowadays, it's more and more common for homeowners purchasing new roofs to get multiple quotes. And I don't know what the magic number is, if it's 2, 3, or 4, it's kind of whatever makes you feel comfortable. But in today's video, I want to give you some red flags, some warning signs, some ways that you can protect yourself so that you don't get screwed by the one contractor in there that's got a price that's way too good to be true. So let's hop right into it. The first way that contractors save money, and it's going to be the most obvious to everyone watching this, is in the quality of materials. Now, when I say the quality of materials, let's talk about shingles as a whole for a second. There is a huge price range between top-level shingles like designer shingles, impact-resistant shingles, and what we call builder-grade shingles. So if you have two quotes and you're comparing two contractors, and one of them has an Atlas Stormmaster Shake Class 4 impact-resistant shingle, and then you're looking at a Tamco Heritage or Owens Corning Oak Ridge or Atlas Pro Lam shingle, you are not comparing apples to apples. So for the sake of this video, I want to just assume that the shingles are the same or they are of the same class, because all manufacturers have competing shingles, okay? So let's stay in the same bracket here. Let's just assume we're talking about Atlas Pinnacle Pristine, which is what we install the most of. So if you have two quotes that are for Atlas Pinnacle Pristine, but one is significantly lower, right? That's the type of scenario I'm talking about. Now, no roofer has any special connection with the manufacturers or has a special hookup to where they can get a shingle significantly less than another roofer. Yes, it's true. If you move volume and stuff, you can have slightly better pricing, but that's not really a thing anymore. Most contractors are paying roughly the same amount for the same type of shingle, right? But if you have two Pinnacle Pristine quotes here, and one of them is a lot less, the first way that we see contractors cutting cost is in all the other materials that you're not going to see when the roof is completed, like the underlayments. Are they using quality underlayments, like the felt? Are they using Atlas products? Are they using a synthetic felt? Or are they using a 15-pound felt paper, right? The starter strip. Are they using a starter strip that is a specialty starter strip shingle that is designed to be in that location on your home? Or are they taking an old 3-tab and flipping it upside down and using that as a starter? And we still see that happening quite a bit because that's how a lot of roofs used to be built. And there's still a lot of contractors doing that today. When it comes to your hip and ridge shingles, the shingles that cover up the peaks of your roof, are they using specialty hip and ridge shingles? A shingle that's designed to bend over that. Or are they using a 3-tab shingle? 3-tabs are very versatile in the roofing space. You can take a 3-tab and use it as a starter. You can take a 3-tab and use it as an actual field shingle, like the shingle you see. And you can also cut a 3-tab and make hip and ridge out of it. And we still see this happening all the time. And then ice and water shield. Ice and water shield is something that really differentiates contractors. A contractor who's going to take the time and buy the extra materials and pay the labor to install ice and water shield in your valleys, around your chimneys, where walls meet roofs, around all of your pipes and your exhaust pipes, and around the perimeter of your home is going to be more expensive than a contractor that's just going to do the bare minimum, which in Memphis, the bare minimum is just running one strip up your valley. That's all they have to do. Those are things that you need to verify. And the way to protect yourself from these differences, these little hidden changes I like to call them, is by making sure that when you sign a contract with a roofer, that the brand names are listed, okay? So if you were to look at one of our quotes, if you were to look at one of our contracts, you would see if it's an Atlas Pinnacle Pristine roof with a Pro 50 warranty, it's going to say Atlas Pinnacle Pristine. It'll say Atlas Weathermaster Ice and Water Shield. It will say Atlas Summit 60 Felt, Atlas Pro Cut Starter, Atlas Pro Cut Hip and Ridge. And when you sign that document, you're agreeing to those products. If the other contract, the cheap guy, says Atlas Pinnacle Pristine, but then it just says starter, synthetic, or just felt, ice and water shield, chances are you're going to get generic accessories to go with that Atlas shingle. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. The second way we see contractors cutting corners, and this is one of the things that's actually pretty hard for you to verify, is with labor. I'm going to give you a little bit of my personal experience here. One of the hardest things I've ever done in this business is making sure that I had the right crews to do the work to the standards that I expect. It's really hard to do. And there's a lot of contractors out there like me who take the time and they interview and they look at previous work and they verify and they do all sorts of things to make sure they're getting quality crews to bring under their wings. But there's other contractors that simply do not care because they don't care about their long-term reputation. They just care about the short-term sale. So if I wanted to, and if I just got to the point where I just don't care anymore and it's just all about selling as cheaply as possible, I could go save 30, 40% on labor by going out and hiring the cheapest crews possible. They're out there and they're actually really easy to find. And if you're in the Memphis area, there's a ton of them, okay? So I'm one of those companies. I would rather lose a job because I'm too expensive than to have the headache and the reputation hit of just selling a job as cheaply as possible because I have a horrible crew on the job. Hopefully that makes some good sense. But the third way we see contractors cutting corners, and which I think is probably the scariest for you, is skimping out on insurance and licensing. Licensing, not so much. Insurance to me is the big deal. Insurance is single-handedly for a legitimate roofing contractor. It's single-handedly one of the most expensive overhead costs we have every year. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And for a contractor to even pay that bill sometimes, they need to sell over $1 million in work. So there's a lot of contractors who are cheaper, who just don't have insurance at all. There's a second type of contractor that looks like they have insurance, but what they do is they'll make the first premium payment to get that insurance certificate, and they can show it to you. And if you don't know to dig any deeper, you're going to think you're getting a job from an insured contractor. And then there's the third type like us that doesn't like to take risk with our homeowners' properties and the livelihood of the people working on the job. And we actually pay those premiums because insurance gives us peace of mind, and it should give you peace of mind as well. But it makes us more expensive. That's just how it is. So one of the tips I'll tell everybody watching this video, you should ask for that insurance certificate. And if you have any doubt, there's always a phone number, even if it still says that, it tells you when it expires. Even if you're before the expiration date, you can always call the broker or the agent that's listed down on the certificate and verify that the insurance is actually active, okay? Let's talk about licensing. Licensing, to me, is more of a show of goodwill that you have a contractor willing to do the right thing, that's willing to almost agree to the terms that the law and the state has put forth to say this is what you must do. This is very tricky in the Memphis area. There is no roofing license. There's no special test you have to take. There's other licenses you can get, but I will always verify that they have some type of license, that they've gone through the trouble or the process of being recognized as a contractor by the state that you're in. It's actually really scary in roofing because, let's take the state of Florida. They have some of the strictest roofing license requirements in the nation. And Florida's strict, and Miami is even stricter than Florida. But on the average size roof, which is 3,000 square feet of shingles, a decent crew can knock that out in one day. So this is something to think about. If I'm a crappy contractor and I'm trying to be super cheap and I don't want to take that test and do continuing education and do all this stuff so that the state recognizes me as someone who can do this kind of work, I can just start doing roofs, and the chances of me actually getting caught are slim to none. Because even if an inspector drives by, that inspector's got 20 other things to look at that day. It might not even register that that's an unlicensed job going on, or that's an unpermitted job going on, okay? So here's some other things that you as a homeowner can do to protect yourself. Number one, we talked about this. Ask for the detailed estimate or the detailed, the scope details to be in the contract. So make sure that they spell out brand names and products. This protects you. When you sign that sheet of paper, you're agreeing to whatever's on that scope of work. So please keep that in mind. Second thing you can do, ensure that they're licensed and insured. We just talked about that. On the insurance certificate, call the number if you have any doubts. If there is no certificate, run away as quickly as possible, okay? Licensing, every state, I believe, has a way to verify licenses. So if they can't provide you with the license number or anything like that, go to the state website and start searching. Pretty easy to find. This is something we didn't talk about. Number 3, verify the roofer's reputation online. To me, personally, I'm also a homeowner. I like working with companies that are not ghosts on the internet. What I mean by a ghost is someone who doesn't have Facebook profiles, someone who doesn't engage on social media, someone who doesn't have a Google listing with Google reviews. I mean, that's the king of all right now. I would rather work with a company where I can read their good and bad reviews and see how they handle all of that. You should too. And then last thing is warranty. Any warranty that is promised to you, make sure that that is also in that contract, especially if you buy an extended warranty. So if you're paying, $1,000, $2,000, whatever, to get the Platinum or the Pro 50 or the whatever extended warranty that they're selling to you, make sure they have it in the contract. And I would even go farther to say, make sure they're going to tell you when they're going to register that. Because most of the time, you can't register that as the homeowner. The actual contractor has to register that. And I'll tell you what, I'm not saying names. I know contractors here that I talk to that have admitted that they get way behind and they forget to register them and they forget to do that. I'm not saying they're bad people, but I'm saying you need to make sure that whatever you're paying for is actually being done on their end, okay? One of the things that we do, we don't register warranties every day, but once a month, we'll go through and just start registering all the warranties from that month. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just something you want to watch out for. And the last little bit of advice that I'll leave everyone with. If there is a price that is too good to be true, it is always actually too good to be true. Like I said before, there's no magic hookup that anybody has that just has shingles, 70% less than anybody else. So I would suggest if you have 3 quotes and one of those quotes is just like way lower than the rest, throw it out. Don't even look at it. There's something going on there that's more than likely not legit, okay? So if you have any questions or if I missed anything in the video, hey, comment. I love replying to comments. I love hearing everybody's feedback. If you need any help with anything, send me a comment. I'd love to help it. I'll look at quotes for you. I do this all the time. But other than that, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.